Hello and welcome everybody. How you doing? This is the return of the wellness policy after I would say like a 60-day break, kind of a summer vacation of sorts, before the summer, spring vacation. And we are back. We're back in all of your routines, monthly routines. I'm back. I get the privilege of talking once again to my very good friends, Neal Flanagan and Jordan Goodman. How are you guys doing?
We just went through a quite thorough audio check. What was that way? We've been doing this for almost 6 years. You've never done this to us.
I mean, I figured like after 6 years, maybe it's time to take things a little bit more seriously, be a little bit more professional, try to get our levels as perfect as possible. Reality is like StreamYard and their audio settings are the bane of my existence, and I don't know if it's just a poorly designed app or just like all of our mics, somehow being a little bit different, but it's been really tough to master perfectly. Like the reality is when you're typically doing this sort of thing, you might have somebody just actually monitor levels and just do that, but having to do this while hosting the shows, it takes a lot of setting up perfectly to ensure that all of this sounds great. So that's what we went through. We went through 2 hours.
I wonder if it's got worse. I feel, when Brandon is doing, he's sort of, Brandon Thurston I'm talking about is sort of in charge of the levels. It seems when Pollock and Thurston goes live, and one of the first messages in the live chat on a Thursday night is our audio balanced?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, and it's a recent phenomenon to me. I don't remember that from the past. So maybe StreamYard is. This is fascinating for our listeners, but maybe StreamYard has got worse at balancing audio.
I mean, I don't know if it's that, or it's just like maybe some of these mics are maybe a little bit more advanced, and that means they're a little bit more sensitive, or maybe they have like auto settings within them that don't mix well with the auto settings in StreamYard.
So, wellness question for you,
Yes.
Wellness check, in fact. Throughout my life, it's not uncommon for me to be handed a microphone and quote mic check. As someone on the other end who is balancing levels, is there a phrase or a set of words that you prefer? Like obviously the mic check 1, 2. I think there's something to the ch, but what do you prefer to hear?
I don't have anything really. Like I know Morrow would love to do like he usually does a Peter Piper, like just to test the popping peas.
But I've heard the please provide pizza, these sorts of phrases to check your poppins.
Yeah. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. So he would do that often.
I'd imagine that's as much for him though.
What do you? Yeah, you mean like just to kind of get his like mouth muscles?
Yeah,
sure.
Plosives, we call it in the trade.
What do they call them?
Plosives.
Plosives.
I've watched YouTube videos where I'm an expert.
Yeah, I should have one of those by now. Certainly, I don't. I still very much consider myself like somebody who shouldn't be talking into a microphone who just happens to do it.
Oh, come on.
Do you have one, Jordan? Do you have something, Jordan or Neal?
Not really. I always feel New Zealand. I picked up on from the Hogan documentary because I still find it very funny that they included that. There's a guy, Jordan, if you haven't seen it, and I haven't seen the whole documentary, but there's one guy they interview where they kept in his sort of mic check, where I think what he's really doing is exercising his mouth sort of muscles. And he's going New Zealand.
You gotta always exercise those mouth muscles.
Yeah, you hear that, Neal?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys?
Yes, and I hear the subtext as well.
Do you feel smarter when you're holding a writing utensil, even if you don't need to use it?
So interestingly, like related to broadcasting, this is something that they would teach or at least like recommend to our on-air hosts, like John actually at one time. They would recommend holding a pen on camera, even if you're not writing anything, but just to hold the pen to, I don't know, make you look or feel more authoritative.
Okay, but part of the theory is how you are perceived by others, as well.
I'm guessing maybe, yeah, maybe you look like I could do this with my hands, you know. But if I do this with my hands while holding a pen, suddenly I look like I'm busier and I'm like trying to investigate something. Like you should really pay attention to me, or I'm really paying attention to you because I'm about to write something down.
See, I think it lacks intimacy. There's now something physical separating us.
What do you mean?
Can you put the pen down, please, Wai?
Oh, sorry.
And now lift your hand back up.
Yep.
Other hand. I need both hands. You got all 10 fingers, right?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
yeah.
what if I had 2 pens? Am
Ooh.
I a better,
No, it's just
more
weird.
authoritative talker now?
No, you look like a child.
What if I
That's
like
interesting, though.
like
But
5
with
pens,
one.
like 10 pens, you know?
Wow.
No, it's not additive.
That's still a
It
pen.
really has to be one.
Okay. Got
I
it.
think
Yeah.
it's the authority thing.
It'd be a
You're like a
crayon?
teacher or something, if you're wielding a piece of chalk or a pen.
It helps. I'm sure it helps.
I think
Is
it helps to have
crayon-
something to fiddle with. If I have a pen, there's no pen in my immediate.
Now, what if my pen these
Environs.
days is a keyboard? Like, I mean, this doesn't work nearly as well. I can't just
No, it just
talk
looks
with a
weird.
keyboard. Okay.
Is Crayon like the product or the brand? No, Crayola is the
Crayola.
main.
Crayola.
So who's
brand.
Crayola's like number 2? Who's the Pepsi?
Laurentian,
I can't think of any
Lion.
other.
There's like a lion, Sandy the Lion. Is that a crayon brand?
I guess we could make
Wait.
a whole episode out of this.
I don't think there's a number 2. I don't think there's a Pepsi to Crayola. I think there's a whole host of crayon manufacturers
Top crayon
vying
brands.
for that
Okay.
spot.
So like a bunch of MLWs, perhaps.
Women in
wonder if-
wrestling.
Does Crayola have like a worldwide hold on the market, or like internationally? Do they use
Certainly,
other
yeah.
brands?
Europe,
like in
definitely.
Japan, like in Africa, are they using Crayola?
Was it founded by like Milton Crayola?
Milton B.
who?
Crayola.
I don't know, but I imagine they're quite dominant in the market. Anyway, so how are you guys doing? I haven't caught up with you guys in like.
Big Crayon, as
months.
Mootsman has just commented. He's right.
Oh yeah, what's the chat room saying? Hello, chat room. Mootsman says Crayola is truly big crayon.
hmm
Okay.
And they need regulated. Get on it, Senate.
Hello. Okay. So yes, we're here. It's been 2 months. What have you guys been doing in that time? Start with you, Neil.
Can I say I have not been on vacation, unlike the two of you. I've been the consummate professional. I turned up at the whatever 2nd or 3rd week of May to nothing. Logged on to StreamYard, ready to boost the wellness of our listeners. Nothing.
Come on, you must have been doing something. You know, we're well familiar with your B stories, but
Mhm.
beyond that, how do you fill your days?
Okay, boring stuff first, really quickly. Work has been busy because we're running up to the summer recess in the place where I work. So that's always a time when work piles up before all the politicians disappear.
Yeah.
Personal life, I've been golfing, sort of,
Oh,
with a group of gay men. So that do
Gay.
outward-
Hold on. This is an exclusive here on the Wellness Policy. So Neil has been. I'm going to hold the pen for this. Neil has been engaging in gay group golf.
Yeah, and I don't apologize for it.
Wow. And is this a Pride Month type of thing, or this is a
No.
every month type of thing?
This is
This
a
was May.
social group that I was put on to by a friend. It says, if you want to meet people in real life rather than on apps, there's this group. We get together, we do various outdoorsy things. There's levels to it. Some of the guys are hardcore hikers and they want to spend a day climbing a mountain. Our mountains are kind of low, but going up a hill, let's say. To golf, and when I say golf, I'm using the term loosely. It was more what we call pitch and putt. I think when we talked about it, Jordan, you called it top golf or something. I don't know. There's a putting green.
No. And by the way, I'm keeping kayfabe acting surprised to hear about Neil's
Oh,
gay
sorry.
group golf.
It's another Jordan I'm thinking of.
I'm hearing
No,
about this for the first time.
you did mini golf.
It was a combo.
Oh,
It was both.
Okay,
was-
so you were actually driving per
Nope,
se. I
no driving. This is okay. So there's the mini golf element. That's easy. Everyone can understand that. The sort of crazy golf you're trying to putt through the sails of a windmill. All that kind of funny stuff. And then there's a putting green, like a proper putting green. But you start from below it and have to pitch your ball using a wedge up onto the green, and then you have to putt in the least number of strokes. And that's called pitch and putt. So it's not a full golf course. It's just this miniature kind of thing.
But that's
It's
not
good fun.
Top Golf either. I've never seen this.
Okay. Well, maybe
Pitch
it's
and putt.
yeah.
So this is just part of like a bigger social group that
It's a
you
social endeavor.
started to you've been engaged with like just this year, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
I did mention it to you after a SmackDown one night, Way, I
Yep.
think, but those conversations, I think, go into the ether quite quickly. You're kind
I
of
remember
working
it
to-
again. Yeah, I am kind of like including the audience in in the introduction of the conversation as well. But okay, so what made you decide to like join the group? And by the way, it's not necessarily for dating, right? It's just to hang
No.
out.
But it's a good time. It's a good way to meet people IRL. I'm not a big fan. I've tried Tinder and stuff, and it's a little it's fun. I give it a good run. I went on 3, nearly 4 dates. I've made a good friend out of it,
Awesome.
so that was good. But I'm old school. I don't really love like all of these matches and then having to get into like a dozen text conversations that I think are going nowhere, that kind of thing. So I prefer to meet people in real life, particularly where there's somebody there who can introduce me to a friend who can introduce me to a friend. What I will say though about this was there were about 20 people there and the entire booking was maybe 90 minutes. So it's really difficult to network, So I'm waiting for the next thing to occur.
Got it. You prefer a smaller group.
Yeah, or just more time or to zone in, on people I think I might have more of a connection with or be able to identify people that I might click with.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you like golf?
I like watching golf.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I don't play, so I can't drive, although I used to live with some guys at university who did play, and we'd go to the driving range and I'd just make a fool of myself, like missing the ball, and things like that. But I like watching it. The US Open starts, I think, very soon. I'll be watching a bit of that. I like the Masters. I like the Ryder Cup, So
See, I
some
feel
of
like
the...
it'd be opposite. I feel like golf is the type of thing where like it'd be so much more fun to do than to watch. But maybe correct me if I'm wrong. For you, it's the opposite. You'd rather watch than play.
Yeah, I think so. But again, I'm highly selective about it. The Masters was a lot of fun because Rory McIlroy, who is from like walking distance from where I live, Hollywood County, Northern Ireland, won the Masters 2 years in a row. That's the one we get the cool green jacket in Augusta.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was
It's
nice.
kind of like
bit of local pride.
It's kind of your national sport, isn't it? Like, isn't golf huge?
Wow, Rory's a bit of a local hero because we're a very, very small corner of the world. Even if you take into the whole of the island of Ireland into account.
Okay,
Pro wrestling, we're quite well represented with Finn,
true.
and Becky, and Lyra.
Are you into golf, Jordan? Have
Seamus.
you had that experience like bug yet? It's the type of
No.
thing like where I feel like as I get older, I'm like all my friends are gonna be really into it, but maybe I'm still at the point where like it's somewhat not as popular, but the people who do it like they're just obsessed,
Many of my friends are more on the creative artsy side. However, my 2 cousins, Brett and Brady, the past year, they've like emerged as golf is the new love and the new hobby for them, which totally tracks out given how they've kind of culturally been
What do you
and
mean?
gone
What's
along
the
way.
track? What's the progression towards
Well,
golf?
Brett was they have one's, like works in hospitals and the other is a lawyer, and they've worn the vineyard
Is that the
vines,
path?
and
Is that the path to golf? You work as a
yeah,
lawyer or work in a hospital? Like, what are you suggesting? Like, what? Like normal jobs?
yeah, that is what
Okay,
I'm suggesting. This is like a normal, like it's a thing that guys
normal
seem to
people do,
do.
not
Yeah.
I do
weirdos like
associate it with
us.
the professional class, if you know what I mean. When Jordan talks about lawyers and doctors, I feel like, yeah, they're more likely to golf than
Than artists.
possibly.
Yes, us
Gotcha.
artists, we
What are artists likely to play in
um
terms of sport?
in terms of sport,
Pickleball?
no, that's pretty
No,
normy too, Neil.
it'd be slackline like at the park or something.
Fishing?
Or
Angling?
disc golf, disc golf.
Disc golf?
Yeah,
Extreme
Like,
frisbee?
yeah, Rolf,
yeah,
if you will,
Nice.
yeah.
Rolf.
You would. Um.
Okay.
Neil.
I feel like that's a stereotype, Jordan.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So my dad, who I guess didn't fall into that category at all, he was very eccentric and loved golf. In fact, so as a kid, I went numerous times, and he was happy to try to show me how to do it well enough. And every time, I'm pretty sure I went into it with an open mind and even a desire to enjoy it. But after a hole or two, I was just interested in driving the golf cart.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I
But
could. Yeah, go ahead.
I can understand part of the appeal
Mhm.
is, especially for maybe people that work more traditional jobs indoors and so on, this opportunity to just be outside where there's like open sky and grass.
Yeah,
And in the who's this Larry Yacht in the comments is saying
Larry. What's up, Larry? I know
golf
him.
is golf is pretty much forcing you to socialize. So
Mm.
maybe there's something about these guys too, where their wives are kind of nudging them like, hey, you should maybe make some of your own friends, kind of talk things out with some of the boys every now and then. And maybe golf is one of those more palatable ways. I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about their balls and their tees, as they say.
Okay. I can
As
imagine
Lucy
that.
is.
I mean, it's like I feel like it's the type of thing I would love if I really kind of like got into it. And at the moment I have no interest whatsoever. But like I think if like I became like more exposed to it, just essentially it's like what it feels to me. Please correct me, but like it feels like you're mostly not golfing when you're golfing. And you might golf like maybe like, I don't know, 10% of the time is you actually hitting the ball. The rest of the time, aren't you just like walking around, hanging
Yeah.
out, like driving in a car, you know,
Yeah.
talking? Like that's
And on a busy course, you're waiting for people behind or in front of you to play through, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. There's lots of time to chat. And I think that it feels like a method to get men who perhaps don't want to sit and talk like we are.
right.
This kind of, permission structure to, hey, we're playing sport, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, us creative type, we only socialize with other guys like this if there's an audience.
Hey, I would argue golf can be creative, Like I mean
Of course,
it's technical.
you're picking a certain club and you're trying to take the wind into account. I would imagine maybe a
Mhm.
chipmunk.
Uh-huh. Chipmunk.
Larry
Okay.
points out that the food at the club is also good. Now, that depends, of course. If you're playing a municipal course, there may not be what the golfers call the 19th hole,
Okay.
So when you're finished, you go to the clubhouse, you get some nice drinks, food, and stuff like that. If you're playing a course that's run by a council, maybe they don't have that, which is also plays into Luke's comment about it being a rich
Hey,
man's
Luke.
idea of a sport, which I think is, in my environment, is correct. There's a golf course very close to me. I know that it has a very nice clubhouse. It has a president, all of this sort of thing, and the fees are fairly exorbitant. And it's only a 9-hole course, but it's in a very nice setting by the sea.
I mean, this stuff is expensive, right? You know, the
Yeah.
landscaping is tough to maintain, and I mean, you don't want the club full of people. Therefore, you do have to create a bit of a barrier of entry just to make it, I guess, tougher to get in, so that you don't have a full course all the time, right?
Yeah, it's got a culture of
Understandable.
elitism. I think that women were banned from Augusta golf course until
Really?
relatively recently. I think Condoleezza Rice was famously the first woman that they allowed to join the club.
Wow.
I
Okay.
know
I can't remember when.
the golf clubs near me until a few decades ago, like Jews weren't allowed either, or black people.
Wow.
Yeah, but such is
That
society.
that
Hmm.
can't be true, Jordan, can it?
It's too
Maybe
bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
historically recently. Okay.
Think of
Yeah,
all the lost talent we could have had. We could have had like a number of Tiger Woodses that,
well,
never had the chance to experience and try their
speaking
craft.
of I guess stereotypically hoity-toity sport cultures, I am obsessed with tennis. I do love
Mhm.
tennis.
Now okay, so in all of this, I do want to discuss, and we'll talk about tennis, but like I do think there's like a real stigma attached to like certain sports. You saw this recently with the UFC, right, Neil, in your coverage
Mhm.
of the UFC event, where like to the mainstream, their knowledge of the UFC at this point now, if it wasn't already, is that it is a sport of the manosphere, right? Like
Yeah.
ultra sort of like I don't know, toxic, just like the sort of like grossest of like, like women hating, like ultra aggressive, like type of thing. But like my experience through it is that I mean the people who practice it, yes, of course you have a lot of that, but it's a lot of martial artists, incredibly disciplined people that are like good people overall. Now tennis, what do you think of when you think of tennis? It's not exactly an everyman sport, you know. Maybe it can be. Maybe your experience is different with it, Jordan, but like it seems like it is more similar to golf in at least reputation, right? As something that's kind of exclusive.
Well, I think in part it's like golf, or I'm sorry, tennis courts, and even like rackets and strings and all that. It's more expensive than kicking a soccer ball, which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons why I think soccer is like the global sport, because there's such a low barrier to entry in terms of participating and developing a skill set or just an
Hmm.
interest in doing it.
Even more so than
Um,
basketball, because I mean you don't need a net.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
soccer is just a ball, and then you could put two sticks in the ground, and that's your goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest piece of it. Um, but and it, like watching Wimbledon, it's interesting because that is more traditional in terms of, it reminds me of the couple years in middle school I went to a pretty conservative private school where there's a uniform and there's these like social expectations, and uh at least my experience was we want people more so to fit in to this model or mold of who we want this student to be, or tennis players to be, versus individuality and expression and things like this. Um, but part of, I guess, what I enjoy about tennis are the personalities that do rock the boat a bit. Like Nick Kyrgios, for instance. I mean, he's also well known for being emotionally explosive and things like this, disrespectful at times in the past. But what I also appreciate about him is he's talking about like, fuck, if we want the sport to grow and to reach new audience, like we have to present it in a different way. And like from a marketing perspective, I think that's really interesting to me. Um,
Is that this guy?
Yeah.
yeah,
What
yeah,
a wow! What
Australian.
a badass! What an addict! What a
A backwards hat? Wait, you can't
yeah.
even do the backwards hat,
I
and you're just
mean,
on the wellness policy today.
yeah, I know, but like holding the racket too, like he's about to, you don't want to mess with this guy holding a tennis racket.
He's a bad boy,
You don't want
Cool.
to be that
relatively
racket
speaking.
on occasions either when he loses the temper because he will smash that
Interesting. Okay.
thing.
Do you play tennis, Jordan?
I do, and I have. So I took lessons as a kid, like many years of
Uh-huh.
lessons, but I never was interested in playing competitively. It was more social for me, and really the main appeal with the tennis teacher I worked with the longest, he was a drummer and played in an alt rock band. So as a kid, I thought this guy, and still do, this guy was like the shit. He was a role model for me. So it was like I would do lessons with my brother, sometimes friends. I would do his tennis camp each summer. Um, but again, it was more of a social thing for me, and even like I played other sports. I never like music was the only thing. Um, perhaps ironically, that like that's what I was competitive about. I wanted to quote win at music, meaning like be able to form a band and have like legitimate experiences in the world as a musician. Whereas with athletics, often the point of a game is to win, and I often didn't care to at least compete beyond um, recreational competition. Yeah, I
Hmm.
wasn't interested. It is, but I loved the lessons. I loved tennis camp, and to this day, it's still like great fun to play tennis.
Cool.
Way,
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
couple of mentions of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in the chat. And I
Right.
happen to know you were fairly accomplished at one point in that. I don't want to say were, probably still are. You could probably still
Mm-mm.
take me,
Mm-mm.
for example. Famously submitted Court Bauer with Samoa Joe on the call.
Um. Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, thank you. Yes, of course. Grapple Kingdom
Why are you
one.
so hesitant to talk about this,
I
Way?
mean, you know what? It was a long time ago, and
Oh, okay.
um, maybe we're due for a rematch. Maybe I should
Yeah,
not head into MLW and
but
give the commissioner a
Court
call.
that the Wrestle Kingdom. Oh no, not Wrestling.
Grapple
Whatever.
Kingdom. Grapple
Grapple
Kingdom.
Kingdom aside,
Right.
you got your blue belt.
Yes, I did.
You went um, regularly. You made friends. I know that the guy you did a show with, Roman, who's actually a very good YouTuber these days. I still follow
Yes, you
him.
followed him.
Oh, I do, yeah, because I love his cats.
Wow, cool.
Um, what was that like for you? Was there a competitive edge to it for you? Was it more about socialization? Was it more about understanding the sport that you were following while you were at
Yeah, it was a lot of
the Fight
those
Network?
things. Yeah, it was a lot of those things. So like definitely working at the Fight Network, covering jujitsu, mixed martial arts, really, and really being brought close to like a lot of these people training intensely. Like that would be part of my weekly job is to like travel to these gyms and like create these video pieces on guys that are preparing for their UFC fights. So I'm following guys very closely as they're training at the highest level, for MMA competition. And I mean, in following the sport too, you really just can't help but like get swept up in it. And I'm somebody who I think I've always struggled, certainly in my adult life, with like finding some sort of physical activity. And Jordan, like you bring up how like almost as if like there are two paths, right? You can either be a musician, like art nerd, or you could be a jock. And maybe like for that reason, I always identified more with like the arts, and therefore I didn't pay as much attention to the athletic side of things. And it was getting to the point where like I mean, I recognize how much bullshit that was because we all need athletics in our lives. We all need, physical activity in our lives. So I was just looking for something, and I also didn't want to get like punched in the face, nor did I want to like, get concussed in any way. And jujitsu, as far as like all the disciplines go, felt like the one that was like sort of the safest, while at the same time being able to completely exhaust you and completely compel you in terms of technique. And I would also say like it felt like a puzzle, it is.
Mhm.
And I immediately recognized that, it also helped that like I think being like long and lanky, kind of it's actually an advantage in jujitsu, or at least like it's not a bad body type to have. Whereas like if I were to do like I don't know, like shot put, I don't know if I'd be good at that, right? But jujitsu, like kind of being long leggy, like gives me like a good guard and allows me to play all these different types of guard, open guard, and it's yeah. So like all of that, I was also coming off of like a breakup, and I think like it was partially like getting into jujitsu that kind of really brought me out of a funk, and I allowed myself to just completely dedicate myself to it. It also helped that I had a long commute home because I was living at home at the time. So the way to break up my commute would be going to jujitsu class, right?
Mm.
So that
Mhm.
I could wait rush hour traffic out in order to just like go home quicker, like once I was on the road. All of these things worked together to just make me incredibly consistent, and it got to the point where I fell in love with it. And you talk about the camaraderie, and thank you, Larry, here also saying, uh, yeah, what I loved about BJJ was the camaraderie and the personalities, and you certainly find that at a gym. Like you're training with a bunch of people, you're interacting with them, you're playing games with them, essentially. With your rounds every single time, and you're exchanging information after every round. There's a bit of ego involved, and maybe tapping somebody out. But at the end, you can always ask somebody who's better than you, hey, like, can you give me some advice? And they help you. And unless they're dicks, but very few people are. Um, and you just kind of like you support each other in that way, and you want to see each other grow in that way, and it was wonderful. And eventually I think like life just kind of took over. I started to kind of fall out of love with it. I got injured often, and it disrupted my
Mm.
momentum, and going back every single time just felt more like a chore than something I actually enjoyed. So that ultimately disrupted it, but I think about it all the time, and I think about wanting to go back often. And maybe I will, once like my schedule clears out a little bit, but it's also something I really want to introduce my kids to at some point. So it offered a lot for me, both in terms of like, socially, mentally, and also physically, of course.
Have you maintained social contact with those guys even after not continuing
A
the sport?
few, like I would say maybe like, yeah, not really. Like our attachment was really just kind of through the gym, right? And I think a lot of them just stopped as well, right? Some of them like went on to become black belts, but yeah, not so much. But yeah, like Roman, for instance, I probably like one of the few I would keep up with. Yeah.
You didn't do gymnastics when you were younger?
I tried. I don't think I was very good at it. Did you? Or you gymnast either of you gymnastics?
Like
I
a
wasn't.
year or two, I was 8 or 9. But same thing, they the owner or the coach or whoever was trying to recruit me to join their competitive team, and I was like, "Nah, man, just I like doing
Were
somersaults, and sometimes they let me go down like this big slide if I do well."
were you like considered good at it? Like what did you consider yourself like talented?
I don't know. I don't. I was halfway decent at wrestling. Um,
Like
I
amateur
tr-
wrestling. Yeah.
Amateur wrestling, yeah,
Yeah.
and professional wrestling. I did that
Yeah.
when I was 14.
Calvin.
I mean, I tried other sports like fucking baseball and soccer and basketball and football. I played for a year, but yeah, wrestling and tennis. I think non-team sports suited me better than the team
Hmm.
sports. Um,
Cool.
except in being in a band. To me, that was my team sport. I loved that.
Yeah.
Certainly offers camaraderie. Certainly offers maybe like again, very similar, like united goal. Like you want your guitarist to get better, and you would offer
Yeah,
suggestions for that. You're working together to create a song. You're working together to, I don't know, like sound the best you can, while you play live, right? You're
and
all working towards a goal.
not unlike the community, the camaraderie, the working togetherness of a band. I was also afforded the luxury of at certain times in life multiple bands and then other people who are more into the promotion side or the being the sound engineers, so like a whole community of people that were all working together to
Mm.
build something more fruitful and sustainable for everyone to participate in.
In
Yeah.
adulthood, it seems tougher to find these things, isn't it? I mean, Jordan, you're still in bands, like I hope you still get some of that, but like, Neil, like you are finding some of that through your social group, right? Doing these sort of activities.
A little, but And I've let some sort of physical activity slip, but it's nearly all solo in terms of I've got a fairly basic treadmill for when the weather's bad. I try to get ever since Disney, which was not exercise, but you certainly get your steps in and then some. So I've tried to keep that up. And DDPY. Yes, yes, I'm that basic. That's my kind of yoga is Diamond Dallas Page shouting "bang" through the DVD.
That's
But
awesome.
it's really good. And
Yeah.
I mean, all the testimonials he gets from other wrestlers. I think they're telling the truth. It's very, very good for your core. It's very, very good for your posture, for keeping your spine, keeping your lower back in shape. As you get to my age, all of those things are pretty important.
So
So I enjoy that.
So yoga, like I don't know the real history of it, but I imagine it's been sort of like developed through hundreds of years, where maybe some of like the first yogi, thousands if
Yes,
that. I mean, I
thousands.
don't, so where like the first yogis might have developed like, I don't know, the downward dog or like like whatever common practice is
Yeah.
that's carried across the world. What if like 2000 years from now everybody's gonna start saying bang? Like,
Yeah.
what if DDPY gets
Yeah.
so look at that.
Wow. Oh, that's the
Wow.
DDPY
Oh my
effect.
God.
Hearts on the
That's awesome.
screen.
This is
Wow.
amazing. I love this. You guys, you should all try. I guess you don't. Neil, do you have this
I think I've
capability?
got my reactions turned off at the moment.
Incredible. Wow.
That is incredible.
Did not expect that. Yeah, for people anyway, that's a video only bonus. But like
There we
what
go.
lovely. You can't do it, Jordan. Sorry.
My iOS hasn't been updated in a decade.
But you ever think of that? Like, what if DDPY gets so popular and all of a sudden people just going bang at the end of like every yoga session and they don't even know why? It's just because it's just the thing we do.
Yeah, it becomes the dominant form of yoga. So yeah, you've got to shout bang, and all the moves are called broken table, road warrior, because he has his own names for these things.
But
Cool.
isn't this just how all cultures form and evolve? Someone
Sure.
makes some shit up and enough people keep doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been tempted through doing the program, and it's fairly basic at first, but it gets you to a kind of intermediate level to do some actual yoga that has the spiritual elements involved, because his version is very much broken down into here's a workout.
Mm.
In fact, the original version was called, I think, Yoga for Guys or something like
Yeah,
that.
John got me the book actually. Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes, a very young Cody Rhodes, is one of the models doing the moves.
Right.
Wow.
But I also think like that's probably the in for a lot of guys who just like are either intimidated or just don't think the spiritual stuff is for them, or they might be deterred by that, right?
But I'd argue that was the Trojan horse for yoga in general in the West, that most related to
sure.
it, and it was marketed more so as a physical practice than anything else.
Yeah.
And then for some it was, oh wait, I'm learning how to connect with my breath. I'm learning how to develop more body awareness in certain ways, and then maybe connect that to a emotional awareness.
I feel like between this and like I don't know, like using golf as an excuse to socialize, I feel like maybe a lot of men just simply we don't want to like be spiritual, or we don't want to admit that we want to be spiritual. We don't want to admit that we need friendship. But if I'm doing this sport, if I'm doing this workout and I happen to be a little bit spiritual, or I happen to be a little bit friendly, then that's okay. I'll take that as a side effect.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not
Yeah.
too gay.
Yeah, I think that's a societal thing for sure, that it builds this framework where, hey, it's okay. And you could talk about, how your marriage is on the rocks and stuff like that with your
Yeah.
pals while you're on the putting green. Yeah, definitely. The other thought that occurs to me is when you leave school, and to some extent college, if you're into sports at that level, which I know in the States is very competitive, but in my part of the world, there isn't a funnel of college sports through to professional, so it's still kind of very amateur. It's based very much around team sports,
Mhm.
and for obvious reasons, you want to get everybody involved, and you want to foster a kind of I guess, a culture of cooperation and all of that. But when you leave that, then you're left with, do I still, in my part of the world, like join a
Hmm.
rugby club after I've left school and devote Saturday mornings to having to do that kind of thing? And for a lot of us, other commitments come into our lives, and therefore, I think you're left trying to find something that keeps you fit,
Mm.
and that
Wait,
tends
Or,
to be
or just
something a
even
little more
something that
individual.
that gives you social opportunity,
Yeah.
right? Which is equally as challenging. Um, yeah, Jordan, you're gonna say something.
would you have like play dates with friends as a kid?
I'm sure I did. Yeah, absolutely, of course.
What would you do? What did you like to play with other
Like
people?
video games, like each other's toys.
Mm.
Um,
What was a toy that someone else had that you were envious of?
oh, the first time uh, I, I, I was with my cousin, and he had a Ninja Turtle. I got so jealous. I was like, "What is this?"
Oh, just a Ninja Turtle.
One, like it might have
Wow.
been Michelangelo or something. And I was like, "What is this?" I'd never seen the show, but
Huh.
I mean, green's my favorite color, and I was just incredibly captivated by this like upright turtle with a headband. You know, I mean, I became
I do
obsessed.
I do know. Yeah, it was very much a
Yeah.
religion of mine as a 5 and 6 year old. See, my I had a lot of the toys. What I was envious, this girl brought it to show and tell in kindergarten, and she had the Technodrome, like the full
Oh,
sphere
cool.
with
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
and
Technodrome.
my good friend, like maybe 4 years ago, I mentioned that he's an avid toy collector, and he had one in his garage. He offered it to me, but
Really?
I declined. Yeah.
Well, what would you do with it? This monstrosity
As a
at your
5 year old or
age,
as a 40-year-old?
as a 40-year-old, yeah. What would you do with this?
I assume put it on display.
Would you feel
And
the same happiness now as you would have back then?
no, and I understand that for a lot of collectors as adults, part of it is like gifting themselves what they hadn't had as a
Hmm.
kid. And
Hmm.
then also maybe gifting themselves what they did have, but in a way to connect with that nostalgia. Um no, yeah,
So if I
that's
bought this for you, like would you be happy, or would you be like, oh, what am I gonna do with this?
I think I would feel guilty that you spent money on this for me. I would be deeply appreciative as I was for my friend to even simply offer it to me. But um I mean, I wouldn't also hate having it. I would happily put it on display. It just felt unnecessary too. I have plenty of other things
I'm
that
not gonna buy it for
I
you.
don't need, but I mean, I got this orange bird like a gardening thing. I got I think Bernard the business bear
Oh
from
yeah.
Ring of Honor.
Maybe you could turn this Technodrome into like a plant, like a place for succulents or something. Like, that would be kind of cool, as like to
Well, so
adultify it.
that's it. Okay, so that is something my wife would probably be able to pull off. But then I think there's a part of me of like, no, don't ruin the thing.
Yeah. Would you keep it in the box, or would you open it?
Hmm. I guess it depends on the condition. If it was beat up,
So it was perfect. It was brand new, brand new. Would
hmm,
you leave it there?
hmm.
See, I would say this is like sort of one of the struggles of being an adult. You're old enough to recognize that there is sort of purity in something and that it's rare. Then, because of that, you're less likely to actually play with it. Whereas if you're a child, you don't care. You're just opening it. You're having fun with it. You're using the thing as it's intended to be used, right? So I think you should open it. I'm not going to get it for you. Somebody else might.
Is there anything that you keep in the case?
No, not really. Like a lot of people, actually, yeah, some things, yeah, yeah. So I'm really into Hot Wheels. I found this super treasure hunt, which
Zoom
is
in on
like
yourself, Wai. We need to see
incredibly,
this.
incredibly rare. You don't understand. You don't understand, Jordan, how
So that
tough it is to find one of these.
That's
So
in
it's
a protective
a
casing.
rallying
It might take
civic.
somebody like years to find something that is a 1 in every 20 cases
Wow.
of Hot Wheels.
Where'd you
might
get
find
this?
at a Shoppers Drug Mart, like
Oh,
randomly. You
okay.
honestly, like, I, it's sick. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting hobby because it's just so the frenzy of like scalpers, the frenzy of just like many grown men, like, I guess kind of like me, that like stalk these stores waiting for these pegs to be filled every single day at these Walmarts is kind of gross. And I mean, really turns me off from it. So I don't ever expect to find one of these things, right? But like when I did, it was like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not opening this.
Okay. But then did you add that protective casing?
Yes, yes, it's to the point. Like this is like $120, you know. I
But
paid
you
two
paid
bucks for it.
wow. Okay, so this is
Yeah,
a newer product
yeah,
that
yeah,
you got. Okay. So
yeah.
would you spend the money to have it graded?
No, no, I'm not. That's not necessary.
Why wouldn't you? So why is that unnecessary when for many others that's completely obvious?
But I don't. I guess it's just not common practice. If it was like a comic book and grading is common practice, then I could see that appeal. I'm
I'd be
not intending on selling
no,
this.
okay. Well then there you go. Unless you
Yeah.
just wanted the satisfaction of a higher grade.
No, not really.
Okay. All right.
How
So
about you guys?
All Hot Wheels are pretty much the same price. Wait, it's just that there
Yeah.
some of them are rare.
No, some of them are. So I mean, you're gonna really get me into
Let's
a
go.
bigger
Yeah,
podcast.
I'm
But there's
interested.
like their premiums, like meaning like they might have printing on all the sides instead of just three sides. They might
Okay.
have rubber wheels. They might have metal bases, and those could be like I don't know, like up to like $7, $8. Um, there's Silver Series that doesn't have the rubber wheels, but it's got printing on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Shall I continue?
It's fascinating. Are we talking US dollars?
I guess it depends on the store. It depends on the store, but
Because
I guess
that's a low barrier, these days
yeah,
in this economy,
it's true.
to pick
It's true.
something up for a few
But
bucks.
but the cost isn't so much in the dollar amount. The cost is in the time and the luck in being able to find the thing you want, which is very difficult, at least where I live. Anyway, either of you have anything like that?
Yeah, I've been doing these Disney pins as I keep going to
Mm,
Disney World, and
right, Disney
like
pins. That's your thing.
and so it seems like the Disney company they have to keep um, creating new ways to manage the most enthusiastic customers of these products in term because now I think Tuesdays is when they release a new product every week, and
Do you
it's
have to buy these, or do they give them away for free?
uh you have to, well, if you don't buy them, well, yeah, you have to have some sort of Disney pin in order to, if you want to do the trading system. But oftentimes what they distribute on their boards or their lanyards is of much higher value than what others may begin with. But um like I know there's like some pin, like I guess blind bags where uh customers will just like touch the bags and because they'll figure out what shape and to try to get, and then so now some of these products they have to lock away. There's
Oh
issues with
yeah.
with parking on Tuesday mornings in some locations because some people are camping out in their parking garages, but especially for the locals in Orlando or Anaheim, they have access to this stuff and they create businesses on whatnot and eBay, and the rest of the world is their customer base.
Incredible. It's incredible what you can achieve through scarcity.
Yeah. So
So
Disney is both profiting greatly from it, but it's also creating like many headaches that they have to manage.
but are you making friends through your pin trading? Like
Friends is strong,
uh,
but
fake
it
friends.
is yes, yes. It's what I enjoy is the social aspect of it and the treasure hunt aspect of it too.
Totally.
Well,
It's
you
fun.
did connect with one of your favorite YouTubers
I did.
recently, Jordan.
Yeah, a couple times. It's great. Lily was starstruck. She was.
Okay.
She was.
You're talking about the wizard, the pin trading wizard.
No, this would be WDW Kevin. You're referring to the pin trading pastor who has
Got it.
fallen off the face of the earth this past year.
Um,
Yeah, because I was thinking like no one's cornering the Christian market in Disney pin trading content, and finally, the pastor arrives, and there's open field if either of you want to take the ball and run with it.
I shall consider it. Yeah. I mean, there's a career to be had.
He looks very
through
angry.
anything. He's passionate. That's all.
He does give off the cultural vibe of like ex
Okay.
UFC fan.
We have a lot of topics that we've just talked about, and now is the time in the podcast where we open it up to all of you to get your takes on what you guys want to say. First of all, to the chat room, we say, okay, Larry says COVID and injury really stopped him from continuing with jiu-jitsu. He says, as we get older, training in martial arts gets harder to keep up with. When I have kids, I definitely want them involved in martial arts. I grew up doing it and would love to share that. Luke says, I've definitely found it difficult to have camaraderie and social connection as an adult. People get busier and the days are too short. Yeah, that's true. So that's why I think like athletics can be really important for people, again, as a way to force socialization, or bands, like getting into bands, keeping that up, right? Andrew says, I was never truly envious, but toy lightsabers. He also says, my adult hobby is model kits. Yeah, which can, I think, also be very obsessive. Awesome. Hey, let's go to our phone calls here and let's check in with Corey. Long time no speak, Corey. How you doing?
Hey.
Doing all right. I've got my pen right
Yeah.
here so
Pens
I
up.
can look
Pens.
really,
What do you have
really.
to say?
Oh, I
Have
dropped
no
it. I'm no
pen.
longer professional. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Got it here.
I'm paying attention.
Looking really professional, really authoritative.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say, a lot of important, pressing things to say. No, I don't.
Forgive me.
If you had
I
a desk, tapping the pen on the desk as you're speaking
Ooh,
also.
yeah.
also
Oh man. Yeah.
Corey, how long is your hair? Because we can't see where it ends.
Oh, like down
Whoa.
to
Oh,
like a
wow.
little
shit.
past my hip.
Damn.
Wow. So
That's
what's
awesome.
the end game here?
There is no end game. It's living life day by day. Sometimes you just live without a goal. Sometimes you just roll with the punches. Sometimes you just see what happens.
When's the last time you had someone get their hands on that to shape?
Like my sister like cut my split ends like maybe a year ago, and then before that, I mean, it was during the pandemic in my friend's backyard. She does like salon work, and she gave me like a trim in her backyard. But like
So this
this
is
is
like
what I
6 years of growth. pretty
Oh,
much.
I mean, like, I haven't had like a real like capital H haircut since 2017. It was my
Wow.
unemployment hair, and I told myself I'd get a haircut when I got a new job after I got laid off from a contract position I had, and I completely forgot to do that, and now my hair is as it is.
Are you a
Awesome.
sports clips guy?
I have no clue what that is.
Oh, so speaking of, I guess, like predominantly male social circles or cultures, so sports clips is it's on par, I'd say, maybe slightly above a great clips or a hair cuttery, where
Mhm.
it's, hey, you're a guy and you like sports and you have hair that needs to
Oh,
be cut type of vibe. Like they got sports on
okay.
the TV, but they'll wash your hair in a massage chair.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's the difference. It's a barber. It's not a salon. It's a
Mm.
barber.
Yeah, I
Guys go to barbers, not
yes,
salons. That's
So,
girl
right.
stuff.
yeah. My mom took my brother and I to strictly salons as children.
I was
We were,
saying.
yeah, used to the salon experience. It's quite elevated.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I can only like, I mean, I haven't in a while, and I honestly probably should. My split ends are like the ugly as shit,
What,
but uh,
like,
yeah.
what do you encounter challenges, that we may not be aware of
I mean,
in
it takes a long time to wash my hair, like way longer than like. I mean, like I'm gonna be. This is like I realize this is going to sound like real weird, but I've got like a Bluetooth speaker that's waterproof, and like I will get through like a good chunk of like your podcasts while I'm washing my hair. Like
well,
it
how
takes a
long?
while, man. I need something in my ears while I do it because it's
Yeah.
just like washing this crap. Like it's a trial in and of itself.
But are you at the point where like you are considering not dealing with it, or are you
No,
happy?
no.
No.
I think it looks good. Honestly,
Yeah.
like
I don't.
maybe there'll be a point eventually, but that time is not now, and it's like never been something that I've like actively thought about.
When's the last time you had what people regard as short hair, Corey?
That would be
School?
no, no, out of school. I would say like, I kind of had like the Edward Furlong in Terminator 2 haircut in like 2015, 2016, and then it grew out from there.
Hmm. What about the
Okay.
That's a
drying
cool one.
routine?
Oh man, the drying routine. You know what? Yeah, that's it. That's the haircut right there. That's what I used to have.
That's cool.
Yeah, but no, the drying routine. So for a long time, I had a really shitty hair dryer, like really, really shitty hair dryer. And then my girlfriend for the holidays got me like like not a Dyson, not like the super expensive one, but like a nice one, not one that is doesn't like stop working if the cord bends weird. And so I use some thermal spray on my hair to like make sure it doesn't get damaged from heat because heat hair bad. And then
Take notes,
I'll
Neil.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. No, and then I'll turn it on medium heat and then like high velocity and just like go around with that. And I mean it'll take like maybe 10 minutes to dry, something like that with the hair dryer, something like that.
Wow, you're like the punk rock Rapunzel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
It's,
exactly.
Do
that's
you
what you
braid
call
it?
me.
You style it?
No, no. At a party, someone did give me MMA braids once, and that was real. That was
MMA
a weird.
braids.
Yeah, or like when like people have the dudes with longer hair have to braid their hair for the octagon because like it's a
See, got it.
liability. Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
So
O'Malley's
that
done
felt
it a couple
weird.
of times.
Got it.
I felt
Got
like
it.
I was the rapper Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was.
As we all aspire to feel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wanna what is it? When I blow up, I wanna get rich and act like I know nobody. That's the famous Vine, right? Yeah.
Have
Everyone
these
wants to do that.
have these arm muscles always been there? Or this is a recent development.
People have been asking me that this year. No, you know what? I for the last 2 years, I've really like clamp down on like my fitness shit. Like I was for 2 years, I was working out 6 days a week. Like it was basically my life. Like I live a little bit of like a hamster wheel of a life in the sense that I'm someone who thrives on routine. And so like everything in my day is like deliberately placed. And so like so going to the gym, working out is not laborious for me in the sense of like starting it. And so I've really hammered that routine home and yeah, worked out 6 days a week, started doing 5 days as I've been lifting heavier weights. And so yeah, yeah. So that's been the last like 4 years or so where I've really like put that at the forefront. I mean, like going into your 30s, I feel like you really need to take care of yourself more physically. And I mean, I talked about this before on a previous episode you guys have done about health, and it's like, and honestly, I think even the one about death, which is very morbid, but my biggest motivation for working out is like the to stave off the deterioration that comes with old age.
Hmm.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel I
Uh,
need
It's
glasses
good,
now.
good motivation.
How do I
Yeah.
work out my eyes to avoid that? Is that possible?
Read.
Where are those glasses, Jordan?
Read.
They're not
They're on
they're not
the.
in yet.
They said 2 to 3 weeks.
That feels like
Okay.
a long lead time.
See, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like completely overwhelmed. I feel like I'm getting ripped off. I don't. I'm. Why are they having me pick out these glasses while they dilated or whatever it's called my pupils? I can't even fucking see. And then they wheel me into a gift shop.
Yeah, I don't know if that's you're supposed to do that. Like, shouldn't you have picked your glass frames before?
I think I got hustled, guys.
Oh no.
Okay.
Did you go to did they hustle you at the sunglasses hut?
No,
Did they
no, it was brilliant. In the doctor's office, in the like lobby waiting room area, they had a full retail shop with customer service reps.
Mm. I think
Yeah,
it's.
that sounds like a hustling operation.
Yeah, I think I
I'm.
got.
I mean, it's fine. I think you'll be fine. But it is a big decision picking for a pair of glasses, because you're picking a new face basically. If you intend on wearing them, all the time.
I'm not gonna wear them all the time. Luckily, I think it's a pretty mild prescription. But
Okay.
to Corey's point about aging and our physical selves deteriorating, it certainly is fucking humbling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, what is it? 2 years ago, um, I was really feeling myself as far as like running was concerned. Like, when that first like hit of like spring air hits after a long winter, and all you want to do is be outside because
Hmm.
you've been inside all winter. And that manifested in me going for running like a 5K 5 days a week. And it turns out
Awesome.
going from zero to like, a 5K 5 days a week for a whole sustained month is not very good for you. And I ended up with like really bad hip tendonitis. Like I was walking around like oh, this is a wrestling related podcast, Jake Lee or something, just like hobbling around like I don't have joints. And I went to the PT, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you've got some really bad hip tendonitis." 1 month of like heavy running turned into 4 months of hip rehab.
Wow.
That sucked. That like tanked my entire summer.
Hmm.
It
So
was bad.
what should you have done if you wanted to, well, get back into running? Like, what's the right
Uh,
way to ramp up?
so the first thing that I had to do was one, and this is the most important thing, is I was neglecting leg day. And you may think running is a leg exercise. It's not. It certainly does work out the legs, but it turns out strengthening your legs outside of running helps you be more stable when you run. So that was one big thing, is like really getting more into like lower body workout, which was something I was neglecting. Like a lot of a lot of guys tend to neglect leg day. And then the other thing was like more warm-ups. I got really into plyometrics,
Mhm.
and so that's also been really helpful for running. I only run once a week now, occasionally twice. And, I'll do a 5K here or there, like competitively, just to see where I'm at. But it's just one of those things where I like the act of running itself, especially outside. I like looking at trees. My tunes in my ears and like the wind on my face. I hate treadmills. Um, but
Do
yeah,
you,
no, oh yeah.
I was gonna say, like, have you ever considered? I mean, I imagine you're fast, but if you cut your hair, I bet you'd be blazing quick.
Oh man, no, the aerodynamics
Yeah.
of hair. Dang. The slipstream that I would
Yeah.
get from shaving my head
You'd be like
bald.
DRS.
Dang. Yeah, exactly. Oh no, that ain't around anymore. Now I gotta charge my
Yeah, active
battery on
arrow.
the corners or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, no, yeah, some F1 humor there for all the people in the chat. Great. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I just wanted to pop in and like just shoot the shit with y'all. This is always great. And I actually did want to quickly, because I only have a couple of minutes before a meeting, talk about camaraderie as an adult. And also kind of going into the sort of humbling of yourself. Um there was a very long time in my 20s where I was of the opinion that if people wanted to like hang out with me or if they wanted to include me in their plans, they would reach out to me, and that led to a lot of like weird feelings and almost like animosity towards people I liked because I found myself alone more than anything else. And so I kind of had to humble myself and be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to start reaching out to people and being proactive about my own situation. Um, because, hey, you know what? I'm sure, like, in the same way that, oh, it would be nice to hear from my friends if they wanted to hang out. I'm sure they would think it is nice to hear from me. And it's almost like kind of getting over your own narcissism, uh, and reaching out to other people. And I think in my 30s, it's even more so. I recently had a talk with a friend of mine who I think we were having dinner and he said, "Oh, I never call you because I assume you're busy hanging out with your girlfriend." And I got a little pissed off there because I'm like, dude, you're making assumptions about my life right now. Like, it's always nice to hear from someone. Just like, even if you think I'm busy, reach out. If I'm busy, I'll tell you. If I'm not, I'm not. But like, you're existing in fantasy world right here. Um, all this is to say, um, in in our 30s, regardless of gender, people just want to be told that you know, other people are thinking of them and that other people care and that their company is welcome.
So
Hmm.
have you now like challenged the prior expectation or assumption that others will reach out to you? And so are you now being more proactive and
Yeah.
being the one to open the door to connection?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I will always be reaching out to people because my whole thing was back let's say 10 years ago, I would say, "Oh no, I don't want to be that guy that comes off as needy or like weird or badgering." But you know what? Maybe it is a little needy. We are humans. We're social creatures. We need communication. We need camaraderie. These are, in my opinion, basic human needs. So if I am being a little needy, like what the fuck ever, man. Like that's that's life. That's the human condition. We all have needs.
Sure. And if someone's not interested in whatever is you're offering, they can simply say no thanks.
Exactly. Exactly. And with that, I have to get to a meeting. So you guys have yourself a good one.
Thank you,
Always
Corey.
great
Thanks,
talking.
Corey.
As always, thanks for
Wow.
checking in.
Maybe a first. A caller hung up on us.
Yeah.
We are the pre-meeting hangout, I guess. This is the
Yeah.
green room.
This,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
Corey's
Cocktail
equivalent
hour.
of New Zealand,
Yeah.
just exercising his
Um yeah,
YouTube.com/post wrestling if you want to see Corey's nipple.
I did notice that. Oh, good for him. Um
Good for
Indeed.
him.
And he's right. I think a lot of it, all three of us are older than our 30s.
Mhm.
I, to a greater extent than the other two of you. And I think
it's all the
part,
same after 40,
I feel
Well,
like it's not much has changed since I turned 40, to be honest. But
yeah.
it's because my peer group largely have paired off. Many of them have kids. And I am in a different sort of bracket as a single guy. And therefore, I've gotten over myself in a sense of, well, it doesn't have to be an equal amount of contact. I don't need to hear from my friends as much as I reach out to them because I understand that they got to get their kids up, they got to do the school run, they've also got a job, so have I, but they've got extra stuff that's non-negotiable
Yeah.
in their day that I maybe don't. So I'm happy enough to instigate a little more, and I think that's just something that we all need to consider sometimes is, Corey talked about narcissism, and obviously that actual narcissism is probably a clinical thing. Jordan would know about that, but I think it's just, having a little less ego about it all.
Yeah, totally. So like I guess being on the end of like, the maybe the side with like the children, I I definitely don't have the capacity to like think even about like negotiating or organizing any sort of like social hangout. Not at the moment, right? So I
Mhm.
do appreciate it. I do appreciate like, our calls that are essentially sort of like forced socialization on me like once a month because I have to actively schedule it, like Neil Jordan and I we get together out for a phone call like sometimes like an hour in length. And even that, like I don't want to apologize for our last one because I felt I was very distracted because I was wheeling, my baby around at the same time. That was really the only time I could fit it in was like on a walk, right? And having to like maintain making sure like, that he was okay while also trying to keep up with the conversation. It was so much going on, that I couldn't really devote myself to any one thing. I had to like once I got to the daycare, I had to cut you guys off and I didn't feel good about it. So I
Really? We
apologize.
had a good conversation. I thought, wait, we got into Hot Wheels again.
Yeah.
It's a recurring
But it
topic.
was like a lot going on and like it didn't feel like I was fully, I think, committed to any one thing, right?
Would you not do it next time then in that same predicament?
Yeah, but then at the same time it's like trying to figure out when I would be able to just talk to you guys. I mean, having a podcast is one of those excuses that I
Yeah.
can completely focus on this because we're broadcasting. I'm like, putting a podcast out, right? But yeah, like I would probably try to rather than juggle, you
Okay.
know.
And to Neil's point, like I don't have children, so friends of mine that do, or they have jobs that have far less flexibility than me working for myself offers. Uh, I do take those things into account, and it's easier for me to not take it so personally if it feels like I have to either be the one to maybe more so take the lead in initiating, making a plan, or if I just need to be more flexible than they are in terms of scheduling something. Just our situations are different, and oftentimes it's not personal. I think something really helpful and we could generalize because I see how common it is just being a person and in relationships, but also in the capacity of my work with other people is, Corey mentioned these assumptions and expectations that we hold. That tells the story that we're telling ourselves about others. We're assuming these things. And I don't know if a day goes by in certainly my work where we're not mm, reviewing held assumptions, held expectations, often unexamined and seemingly more unconscious or quote natural to us. But these assumptions oftentimes that's our reality and many times it's not the reality, certainly of the other person they're trying to relate to. um
Mm.
so I think it's helpful to just, if you don't know or you're assuming something, just check in with that person and expect that they'll answer truthfully.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, yeah, and anything else going on in your guys' lives that you care to discuss or feel comfortable sharing?
I want to address something.
Yeah.
Ask your guys' opinion on it. In the wellness policy channel on Discord, Aram, our friend, our mutual friend, wanted to talk about my abuse of Pringles, and what he's referring to is that I once admitted that as a snack, occasionally I will enjoy some hummus, and particularly I'll say there's a type of hummus where they blend in some red pepper for a little bit of a kick. It's very, very nice. But it's a dip, And so a very low friction way to consume it for me is potato chips. and sometimes with Pringles. And because they're the perfect shape for dipping. They're a bit brittle, so sometimes you double up, you put two together. And he thinks this is absolute sacrilege.
Yeah, he's right.
That hummus must not be
It's
consumed in this
pretty
way.
unusual. It's quite unusual because what are you actually doing? You're combining hummus, which is made out of what is hummus made out of?
Chickpeas.
Chickpeas with like it's already sort of mashy. You're combining that with potatoes, which is a very similar consistency. Now, it's not in that form by the end, but in your mouth it's mushy. So you're combining mush with mush, and that it feels wrong.
Yeah, I think there's a lack of structural integrity to the Pringle. This is not an issue with a pita chip or a pretzel, Neil. And I'd also argue that the Pringle is far too salty.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a
Right.
I don't even want to say
Salty.
he has a strong point. He's just correct.
Okay, you guys
It's
have
odd.
set me straight on that one. I'll never
So-
do it again. So,
so
what
ca-
should I dip into my hummus? The
I literally
carrot
just
sticks?
I think vegetables
Yep.
are appropriate.
one.
Even a celery stalk, as they say
Bit peppery
in Northern
yeah,
Ireland.
okay. They do, yeah,
Celery
all the
stalk.
time.
Yeah, that works.
But pita chip, that's the or even just pita bread, and like that's
Sure.
the most
Pita.
traditional, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the
Just
fuck's
don't
wrong
have
with
that
you,
in my
man?
cupboard. That's all. I don't know.
You-
How about
We'll
something
work on it in
original? Can we
therapy.
come up with like an original choice for dipping into hummus right now on this podcast? Maybe a breakthrough for the world using our very creative minds.
I mean,
What-
sometimes I'll just use my finger.
Me too.
Yeah.
When it gets
okay.
to the bottom of the pot, I'll
Kinda
certainly do
gross.
that. I don't clean
I
hands.
mean, maybe if you want to spice up these gay golf groups,
Gay golf.
you could supply the hummus.
We have a rainbow flag instead of in the hole. I
If-
don't
if-
know.
What is key to a good dipping item for hummus?
A structural integrity.
Okay,
Mhm.
so solid.
Yes.
That's solid. Does it need crunch? I guess pita is not necessarily crunchy. Does it need crunch? Does it need to
I'd
be
pr-
dry? Vegetables
I-
aren't dry.
Correct. I think I'd prefer crunch. However, I'd prefer a pita
Okay.
chip or like baked.
Does it need to
Pita.
be like a room temperature thing? Can it be hot? Can you dip a hot thing into hummus?
Now that's interesting way.
Like,
This
can you dip a
is-
chicken wing into hummus? A dry
Ooh.
chicken wing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one of the best. I don't know if this is close enough, but one of the best things I had ever done at an Orioles game in a suite was I dipped Old Bay hot chicken wings into crab dip, and that's not
Ooh.
that dissimilar to what you're
Okay.
suggesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. We'll try that, Neil.
I will. Yeah.
Like, hummus
I'm
on
learning
meat.
every
Is it-
day.
Hummus on meat. Is that wrong? Could you spread hummus on like steak? Is that
Hmm.
wrong?
I'll reach out to Aram. He appears to be a self-appointed authority
All right.
on
I
it.
think
So
chicken might be more appropriate. I will share though. Speaking of hummus, I just started watching Seinfeld. You guys familiar?
I love Seinfeld, and as does Way. So you're talking to.
What is hummus? Is there a hummus episode or something of Seinfeld?
No, it's Jewy.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's great show.
Well, I
Classic.
think so I don't find Seinfeld funny. I've seen in person his stand-up maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Didn't laugh once. Never
Okay.
found him. But to me, it was Larry David. Like, Curb
Yeah.
Your Enthusiasm is a miracle and a gift. And the Seinfeld thing, I was too young to appreciate it as it was a thing. It was always around me. My dad would watch it, and many of my friends throughout life like it. And I've tried it. I think part of the issue was I would try like the pilot episode and be like,
Mhm.
this is terrible.
Oh yeah. No.
And so
Kramer's called something else, and it's all a bit strange. Yeah.
I've demonstrated patience the past week. I'm now about 20-ish episodes in, and it seems like around episode 20 or so, there's an episode where George was like got fired and trying to slip something into his boss's drink, and I think at the same time Kramer and Jerry were trying to get revenge at the laundromat, and Kramer was pouring dry cement. Yes. and there may have been also this C kind of plot with the not scene, but the name of neighbor Newman threatening to jump off the building, and George encouraging it. And it was like that episode where I'm like, okay, I think they're starting to find what the show is hopefully going to be.
Yeah, you're in the perfect spot, Jordan, and I'm really, really glad for you as a friend.
Thanks, man.
That you have exercised such patience in getting through that early period, the early difficult period of Seinfeld. We're really, and I can see too. I don't enjoy Jerry Seinfeld's stand-up, and some of the least funny parts of the show are those intros where he's in the comedy club. It's kind of like it's not a real hook. It's the sitcom of it all.
It's the worst part.
Absurdity of it all. And I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is Elaine is probably my favorite character in it. And she, as a really ballsy woman in that early 90s, I think somewhat of a trailblazer for her. For her sex.
What I watched last night, the deal where her and Jerry are trying to navigate friends with benefits. And yes, I and it is hard to appreciate maybe in 1990 or whenever that was created, how quote feminist of a role that was, because in today's world it doesn't seem remarkable, I think, in the best of ways, but it would have been interesting to have experienced that in real time, where it probably did feel cutting edge. Do we say that she's low-key hot, or she just is hot?
Yeah,
I think
Elaine.
So. From
Sponge. Are you sponge-worthy? Yeah, absolutely. So
you won't have got that far, Jordan, but the sponge-worthy episode is a classic Elaine episode.
Yeah, I mean, she still looks amazing. But Jordan, I get wanting to start from the beginning for modern TV shows. Certainly, if you're watching like something, I don't know, that's serialized and I don't know, dramatic, especially, like it makes sense to start from the beginning. But this is the type of show that you should, I would argue, jump in from the middle, because that's how I think that's how everybody got in at the time. This was at a time before streaming, and it was just simply broadcast on TV. So most people jumping in would be jumping in not from the very beginning, but from whenever they happen to turn it on. And that would be the hook. Your hook is whatever episode happens to be airing in the afternoon on syndication. Nobody starts from the beginning. Nobody even probably watches everything in order, because, well, you're not home every day if you're trying to watch it on syndication.
I understand.
So, yeah.
I suppose part of what I'm looking for in watching something like this is maybe from a more meta perspective, how the thing developed in real time. Like I can appreciate the artistry of that. But the obvious drawback, I start from the beginning, it doesn't quite know what it is yet, and it wasn't particularly compelling to me.
So it does sort of require you to know that, okay, this will get good at some point.
Yes. And right. I trusted that there's enough people that regard this as something worth watching. But I think a big it's called Seinfeld. It's stars Seinfeld. It was produced by and often written by Seinfeld. And I understand people are telling me like he admits he's not an actor. He's not trying to act. He's maybe the least interesting character, and it's the world around him. But I just don't find him that funny.
Yeah,
but you need
you've seen this episode, right, Jordan? The one that we had up there. It's the Chinese. It's a classic. Kramer's not in it, which the actor is on record as saying he regrets. But the Chinese restaurant where they're waiting for a table.
But why don't I remember? And this is all only in the past. Maybe I fell asleep to this one. I'm only watching at night.
So, but you need the plain guy, or at least as plain as, somebody can be in a sitcom to for everybody to revolve around, right? Like a show, if instead if it was based around Kramer, I think would be too off the wall, and I don't think would be
Yeah.
enjoyable.
I agree.
And
I
when
agree.
and there's no spoilers in this really, Jordan, but when there's some very Kramer focused episodes when he goes to LA way, where they're among, I think, the worst.
Okay,
He,
I
he,
don't
go-
remember a thing from any of this.
he goes
You
to
know,
Hollywood, tries to make it. It's a season finale and the first episode of the next season, and they're not very good.
to me, the show started to get really good once it started to like reference itself,
Yeah,
or at least parody itself. Those are maybe some of my favorites.
there's the
Anyway,
Bizarro gang that they run into, which is kind of
yeah. Anyway,
anyway.
okay, so that's what you wanted to share. Your Pringles, and then somehow Seinfeld, Jordan.
What about you, Wayne?
Okay.
Any
Well,
revelations?
after this podcast, I'm in fact getting ready to go to my 3.5-year-old, soon to be four's daycare graduation ceremony.
Oh,
She's about to
Wow.
graduate from
awesome.
daycare. So yeah, big
Wow.
day. Big
Congrats to
day.
Oscar. Big day.
Yeah.
What does
Is
the
there some
ceremony
sort of
involve?
is there are they performing in some sort of way?
I don't believe so. I don't think they have the sort of capacity to learn performance yet at this
Will they
point.
take a walk?
I would hope so. I would hope it's some sort of standing and receiving of, I don't know, maybe a special like cheese stick or something. I don't
Will
know.
will you feel some sort of competitive urge to cheer louder than the other parents?
Of course I will. I'm gonna go crazy.
Huh.
I
That
will
isn't
I will
it's
shout
interesting.
and I will scream for my kid.
Awesome.
But yeah, it does, like, it is wild when you hear about like this sort of thing, like graduation, because again, it's daycare. It's like 2.5 years, but 2.5 years for in the life of a 4-year-old is more than half their lives. So it's just kind of, it does put things into perspective, because I still remember very clearly his first day there and how helpless he was at that point, and how helpless he still is now, but like way more capable now. But yeah, I don't know. I started to, like, they even had us write letters to our child for like some sort of time capsule that they can open up in the future. And so, like I wrote something, for him, and that he may eventually never read, but I'm reading it. It's really more of an exercise for myself. And you definitely, like, you start to get a bit sentimental about it all. And
Yeah.
so it's it's a just a continued reminder of how fleeting this period is, for him. For us, really. It's again more my experience than it even is for him. So
What's
yeah, that's what I'm
his
doing.
what's his level of interest in this ceremony that's happening?
Like, I think he hears about graduation, and maybe, like, you can tell him anything. Like, hey, we're going to Mandarin, for lunch, and he's gonna be like, oh, Mandarin. He's never been to Mandarin. I'm taking him tomorrow. Um, so, like, he'll get excited for anything if you mention it enough. But I think in his mind, like, he asks, like, what's graduation? And his point of reference is, I'll sometimes watch F1. He has no interest in the actual racing, but he really loves the podium because he calls it
Mm.
a celebration. Sometimes, like, in the shower, he'll hold a cup above his head. Like, he just sees people throwing water at each other. Thinks it's great, for the most fun. So I told him it's kind of like a celebration, and he's excited for that. So
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Does he tend to get shy when a room of people are looking at him?
Um. So in those scenarios, I don't know. I haven't really tested it out too much, but he has started to get shy. He
Mm.
didn't initially, but now, like, he's sort of developed it a bit later on, where entering into any room, if like people are already sort of interacting with each other, he'd be very sort of like slow to jump in. And that's kind of, I mean, I definitely see myself in him. So all of that is really fascinating to think about how or why somebody is the way they are.
Hmm. Does he earn like a a gift or something, or an experience for this?
You know what? Yeah, that's probably on us. And his birthday's coming up, so maybe we'll be saving the gifts for that.
All he's gonna get is this letter from you in the future?
Kind of, yeah. It's not really a great graduation ceremony. Well, what do you expect? Like, you know, he should be gifting us.
Yeah, he's 3 and a
alright.
bit, Jordan.
So he starts what, preschool next then?
It's soon, yeah. For him, it's August, but they're doing this now because a bunch of kids are leaving for the summer. So
Is this a new building that
Yeah.
he'll attend? All right,
Mhm.
so it's like first day all over.
big deal. Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well,
Another
it's fun.
landmark.
I guess congrats to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Congrats.
You
Yeah, I appreciate that.
had to
Will you
take
will,
him
will
there
you keep a
and
dry
pick him
will
up.
you keep a dry eye, do you think, Way, or will
I
you
don't
be
know,
overcome?
honestly. I feel like I don't know if I'd be too affected by all these things, but even something like a daycare graduation,
Mhm.
definitely brings up like a lot of thoughts and feelings up, right?
Yeah,
So
of course.
yeah, I might lose it, but I'll be screaming for sure.
Can
Awesome.
you live stream this? You not
I don't
them,
think
but
so.
you. Okay.
I mean, I might record it, for myself to show the grandparents, but that would be kind of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you consider maybe at the end of this year doing something similar, writing a letter, but to Neil and I, that we can open when we're older?
I'm
already older.
Interesting. Okay. Like how much longer? How long would you wait to open it?
My next eye appointment.
I mean, that's pretty much like tomorrow.
They
That's
said
like
a year
a week
from now.
now.
They said a year from now.
I was
I've
thinking more
already
like,
got a time capsule letter from you, Way, a postcard that you sent me in
that's
like
right.
Oh, I got-
2019 when that was a double perk.
I got one
our,
too.
our
Long before I
relationship
became
is,
part of the team.
our relationship is very different now, so I think it would be a very different type of
I'm
letter.
gonna read this.
Oh, okay. All right. Put me on blast. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
framed. He's one up to me. Mine just sitting in a
So what
shelf.
Jordan is holding up is a postcard that we used to send to our ice cap patrons, or actually our double patrons, I think, as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was very early in the Patreon where like admittedly we had a lot more time to dedicate to like merch. And so I wrote handwritten postcards to all the patrons at those levels.
If
Took
you
a
want to
long
know
time.
my old address, I quickly flash it on the screen, probably foolishly. This was from Way, but signed Way and John. Hey Jordan, hope you enjoy this handwritten postcard from Toronto. Appreciate all. I tried to not emphasize the second T in Toronto.
Yeah,
I
good
watched
effort.
myself, like in the moment, make that
effort.
judgment call. Appreciate all the stuff you've done for us. M dash. Not only this year, but even before you appeared on any of our shows. Thanks for being and I'm curious about this, good, but then crossed out, great man. That must
do
have
that?
been a pun on my last name. Intentionally crossed out.
It must have actually. It's not that not bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So we got
Keep in mind, I had to write like 400 of these, so like, I mean, come on.
there's the Hey Jordan greeting. Then there's 1, 2, 3 sentences, but that M dash is kind of like 4 sentences. Oh, I'm sorry. And prior to dash, Way and John, do you know what your exit greeting would have been?
Maybe
Not sincerely. It's not
thanks.
kindly.
Is it thanks?
Best wishes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Well, that's
That's
personalized to you.
That's a very custom one for you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay.
Was there a
That's
date on
not
that?
stock.
Is there a date on that?
You didn't. I'm trying to look at the postcard stamp. Oh, here we go. April 26th, 2021.
Okay.
21. Okay. You did it a couple of times, because the one I'm thinking of is you and John are on the postcard. It's a photograph of the two of you, like very young.
Yes.
You-
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like I probably didn't know Neil as well back then, so that might have been a bit more of a generic one. And I hate that. I hate to say it, but more often it's like I don't really know the person, so I don't exactly know who I'm writing to, right? So
Mine was kind of personalized, if I remember right. It's not within reach, but I was a frequent caller at the time, so you leaned into that a bit.
there is
Yeah,
a real
it was
power
effort.
to a handwritten note, isn't there?
There
I
is.
agree.
It's nice, right? Like, because in the writing, you can maybe feel the person's personality a bit, certainly a lot more than just the perfectly typed, grammarly corrected word, right?
Is there ever a slight anxiety of, I hope they received it?
Um, a little, but not so much. I trust the postal service, you know,
Hmm.
and I feel like I'd hear about it if that was the case. But are you suggesting, Jordan, that we exchange handwritten notes to each other?
But I like the added element of the time capsule.
Right. Because I was thinking more like, I don't know,
Mm.
10, 20 years.
Sure. I mean, Neil might be
Okay.
dead.
So might you. Could all be.
Yeah,
Dead.
we could all, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you and I are in our 60s, Neil a little bit older, we'll open these letters. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. On episode whatever of the wellness policy.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. I'm down for that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's a
Well, we
good
can.
exercise for really any sort of like friendship, marriage, what have you.
I
Write a
I
letter to open a long time from now
On a
when
podcast.
sure.
Yeah.
I may have shared this on the My Dad Died episode of the wellness policy. Go back in the archives for that. But he died a couple weeks after his birthday, and I had written a birthday card to him, and he didn't open it, and I think I understood perhaps why, but I didn't. And forgive me if I've shared this in the past, but
No. You have it.
it was important for me to speak at his funeral, and I was put thought into structure and how do I open, how do I close, and what are my beats. And my close was opening that birthday card and reading it publicly.
Wow.
And it had I may have written it in when I was in Florida, so it may have been like well over, I don't know, maybe even a couple months since I had written it and left it for him. So I genuinely didn't know exactly what was
Mhm.
written and what I would read. So in a sense, that was a small time capsule of
Oh,
this is what I wanted to express
that's beautiful.
recently, and yeah, it did feel slightly vulnerable to not know exactly what I had written, but it's
Yeah.
obviously I trusted that it was uh, worth sharing, and it was.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, Jordan. And again, to me, it just seems to encourage the idea of handwritten notes, for occasions such as a birthday or whatever. But I think though, can you imagine maybe instead of like a handwritten letter, reading your text exchange with somebody instead? Like that's kind of more the pace
Neil and
of.
Neil and I
Don't,
did this
Jordan.
recently.
Oh, you did.
Oh yeah, recently I went back to some of Neil and I's first Twitter DMs.
We were trying to remember who reached out to whom. Now, how did our friendship?
Amazing.
How did our friend? What was the embryonic stage of our friendship? And I thought probably Twitter DMs at that point.
Yeah,
And
well,
Jordan, there were so few of them that Jordan was
because
quickly pulled them up.
where it really started was Neil requesting a phone chat with me. Now I'm sure we had back and forths, whether in probably live chats on your YouTube videos,
Yeah.
and maybe elsewhere, but the real origin story of Neil and I was, and it was really this show. His way in was, hey, I checked out the first episode of the Wellness Policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was he added appropriate context and appropriately glazed by being a fan of the new show. But But Neil, I won't share anything else that
Please don't.
you may or may not be comfortable with. But it was something.
That suggests to me something very, very something worth hiding.
No,
Amazing.
it's slightly embarrassing in that the character of our friendship has changed so much that it was very kind of it's somewhat
No, you don't.
embarrassing,
You
kind
don't
of
have to
like,
say.
yeah, I enjoyed the show and kind of, and then a follow up. This all feels a bit earnest, I'm not, I can be goofy too, words to that effect or something like that. I don't know. You and I
Yeah.
probably went through this awkward stage as well, Wade, in the
Sure.
beginning
Yeah,
of
of
sort of
course. Yeah.
becoming.
I still create awkward stages with most of my interactions these days.
But I think as our audience has come to know over the past handful of years, Neil certainly has become slightly less anti-Semitic.
Well, that's good. Growth is what we
yeah.
encourage people. Okay. All that is to say, there back when we had no choice. I say we, but like, when the world had no choice but to write letters to communicate or talk through phone, but the written word, when it exclusively took place in something handwritten or like in this sort of long form thing you would send. That's really nice to go back to. There's like a real sort of like, effort and romanticism in that versus something very convenient but also very disposable in
Yeah.
the way we communicate today via text or email.
It kind of hurts to write for more than a few sentences.
Sure.
I find.
It kind of hurts to text too much too, doesn't it? Like depending on how good your typing posture is.
As I was just trying to bookend this show with the pen.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, thank you guys. Another very successful open topics edition of the Wellness Policy. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Neil, great work this week with the UFC review. Rewind to SmackDown as always. Jordan, great work with all of your clients and just keep doing what you do for the world.
Thanks. Let me promote next month, if I may.
Yes, please.
Wellness Policy does return Tuesday, July 21st. Maybe back to 1 p.m. Eastern. We don't know. Stay tuned to find out. A buddy of mine, Robbie Reeder, he now lives in, I believe, Maine, in the very northeast U.S., not far from you, Way, perhaps,
Okay.
Canada.
Yeah.
I know Robbie. We played in bands together, and he had some like significant success in a pop punk band in the late 2000s called the Friday Night Boys. He performed on MTV. He's toured the world and supported bands like Canada's own Sum 41 across Europe once upon a time. So that's how I know Rob. But in recent years, he founded a nonprofit group called Sad Dads Club. And I believe years ago, Rob and his wife had the experience of a stillbirth, I believe would be the term. And when he and I were connecting a handful of years ago, and he was really kind of workshopping the idea of this type of group, it was a surprise to me to, I guess, learn how many pregnancies end in death. It's not that uncommon. And I guess similar to the spirit of today's conversation and really the wellness policy, guys talking about stuff. Sad Dads Club is a community for dads who have experienced this type of thing to connect with one another, to express themselves however they feel, both online and also in person through different retreats and community experiences. So Rob is a super nice, cool dude. I love connecting with him. And obviously, this is a very important, meaningful topic. So look forward to doing it with him and you guys in July, right here.
Thank you very much, Jordan, for suggesting the guests. You've really been the driving force behind so many of our great guests this year. So appreciate you doing that. And I'm looking forward to, I think, a very important discussion. I would hope that I certainly didn't think we'd be able to navigate, but I'm very curious certainly to see what comes about it. So yeah.
Yeah. I unfortunately, my assumption based on statistics alone is that there are some people who pay attention to this show who probably could relate to Rob's experience.
Mm. All right. So again, that is July the 21st of yeah, 2026 is when we'll be back. So we'll talk to all of you guys then. Thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, and we will talk to you guys later on the wellness policy. Bye bye.